Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Last time I did one of these webinars, we had a gentleman join us from South Africa, and it was actually evening for him. I don't think it's probably evening for my friend Ron or Stacy or any of the rest, Jameson, any of you guys that have jumping in here. It's probably morning. It could be afternoon if you're out on the East Coast. My name is Bob Stewart. I'm here with Brivity, as you can see on my t-shirt. We're going to talk about some of the leads programs that we have, and then some of the tools of the platform that you guys could leverage if you're looking to build out a team, to power up the team you already have. Do me a favor, as we get in here today and kind of dive in, I want you guys to find the chat area for me. So Daryl, hop in right now, find the chat area for me, and just tell me, where are you guys joining me from? I'm here in Bellingham, Washington. It's on the verge of raining. It's been raining nonstop here for the entire month of November. I think we hit the record for the most amount of rain up here. Jameson's in Salt Lake City, Utah. Fantastic. Stacy, where are you at? Ron, the reason I do this, get you guys familiar. Minneapolis. Fantastic. Stacy, hi from Minneapolis. I want you guys to know where to go when we get in here a little bit and you've got a question. I want you to be able to really easily jump into that chat. Buckeye, Arizona, Ron, love it. I'm sure you have less rain down in Buckeye in the month of December than we had up here in Bellingham, Washington. All right, and then the rest of you guys, you're secret agents. You don't want me to know where you are, and that's totally fine. All right, so I'll keep my eyes on the chat. If you guys have questions as we're going through here, feel free, please throw them in to the chat. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Again, my name is Bob Stewart, and play a couple of roles here at Brivity. One is being able to share this stuff with you. Another role that I play is I actually help the Ben Kinney and his Place network of teams deploy Brivity software into their businesses. So we've got 78 or 79 teams around the country that operate on the Place platform. These are some of Ben Kinney's teams, the Chris Suarez Experience teams. They form this Place network, and I get the honor every day of kind of working inside of these businesses as they actually deploy the tools of the Brivity platform and specifically some of these lead programs into their business. So I'm gonna kind of share today with you guys from that perspective, right? From the perspective of these really high functioning teams. You know, on the low end, these teams are doing 100 transactions a year, and on the high end, we've got, you know, some of these different operations. Our Austin operation, our Austin Ben Kinney team, or the Bellingham Ben Kinney team. These are teams that are going to do over 400 transactions each this year, and some of that business is fed by some of the stuff we're going to talk about today. So one thing that I always just like to kind of mention up front, and it's really important to Ben, is we don't have contracts here at Brivity. If you decide to engage our leads team, there are not contracts for that. If you just are not a Brivity platform client today and you're thinking about becoming one, Jameson, we don't put you in a year-long contract. Ben's belief is we get up every single day to earn your business. And so our mission is to help you grow your business through systems and leverage. And that you're going to see at the top of every one of our slides a very bold claim that Brivity is the only system that guarantees success in real estate. And the reason we believe, now you have to lean into kind of the way we do things. But if you were willing to say, you know what, like I want to build a big business and I need a roadmap of how to do it. I mean, we literally share, you know, kind of in the Brivity ecosystem, everything that Ben Kinney and his teams do to have built the businesses that they build. Like we'll literally share with you the plans that we use, the way that we manage our transactions, like our listing presentation. We'll share everything with you. Now you have to do the work, and it's a lot of work to build a big real estate business. I think any of you guys in this room know that already, if you've even, you know, attempted the undertaking. But this was built by a guy who still today, his teams, what we like to say, eat our own dog food, right? We are using the systems that we built, the software that we built in here. And so I think that's important to understand it. And I believe it's important to partner with a company for the backbone of your business. And the Brivity platform is the backbone of a lot of really massive businesses. It's important to partner with somebody that's actually doing it, right? Like Ben's teams are every day. So this is a kind of a map or an overview of the Brivity platform. And really, if you think about the high level kind of columns here, you've got traffic, right? This idea that there's a lot of people out there, and we believe we can help you identify where those people are at. Content and messaging, then if we know if we put the right message in front of these people, and it doesn't matter, by the way, at what stage they're in. They don't have to be like ready to buy or sell a house today or tomorrow, right? But if we can put the right content and messaging in front of that traffic, right? In front of that mailbox, in front of that person that shows up to your open house, in front of that, that Facebook visitor or that Google searcher, then we can capture that traffic, convert it, right, into a prospect for your database that lives in your CRM. We have all kinds of different tools to help you capture it. Then you have to nurture the people in that database, right? There's a way we nurture buyers. There's a way we nurture sellers. And ultimately, they're going to raise their hand and say, hey, I want to get out and make an offer on this property. Or I'd like you to come out and sit down in my kitchen and let's try to figure out, what I might list my house for. And we get into a transaction. Everybody has the tools for you to manage that transaction. In fact, we've got two, and they're really talented ladies, Tessa and Olivia here in Bellingham, that will manage. Tessa will manage over 400 listings this year, and Olivia will manage about 800 plus pendings. Now, they've got VAs that they run into the business, but those two ladies will manage that volume of business using the leverage of the Brivity platform transaction management system. Now, we all want to be in that green box, right? High five, end of the day, we've got a paycheck, and we invest some of that money back into the business. The other byproduct of that paycheck is we now have past clients that we kind of put back into the ecosystem, and then we nurture them until they're ready to potentially, do business with us again or give us referrals, right? Or invest. You guys are doing all of this all the time. You're trying to find people. You're trying to put the right message in front of them so that they raise their hand, and then we earn the right to be able to nurture that relationship until they're ready to buy or sell real estate. The more you can do this, and the more frequently and the more at scale you can do this, the bigger business you can build. Right? This is the map that we're all doing every day. Now, are we all doing it in one place? Do we have 15 different systems that we've cobbled together? We want you guys to be able to do it in one place. And so we built Brivity. The backbone, I shouldn't say the backbone, the CRM is the backbone, the face of your business is really your website, right? And look, locally, as you meet clients, the face of your business is you, right? Or the agents that you send out to the front line. But just about in every other aspect, the face of your business is your website. And so we've built what we like to call 99% customizable websites. And because your brand is unique, we think that your website should be as well. And I love this website. To me, is one of the better representations of a particular business. And this is the business of a gentleman named Travis Bard in Prescott, Arizona. And if you guys have ever been, Ron, being down there in Arizona, you've probably been through Prescott. And Ron would be able to tell you that in downtown Prescott, there's like this old, I think it's the courthouse building down there that looks like it's been there since 1880. It probably has. You wouldn't be surprised to go through Prescott, Arizona, and see somebody out on a horse. I mean, it's very much that Western town, right? And like in his website, all the way down to that, the writing, right? The Prescott written like it looks like it was written with a quill pen. I mean, if this doesn't represent Travis Bard and kind of who he is, Travis, to this day, if you catch him on the street walking through Prescott, he's probably got a cowboy hat on. He's one of those guys. He's got the big cowboy belt buckle, the one that's like, and the reason I know this isn't Travis on the horse, his belt buckle be sticking out from behind his head. Ron says all the towns out there look like that. But this is, this totally represents his business, right? And this is an example of a gentleman that came to us and said, he's in Cleveland, Ohio, and he said, hey, we got Open Door and OfferPad and Zillow Offers and all these places coming into town, and we want to be able to, so we did our own deal with a local instant offer company, and so now we can offer instant offers to our potential sellers. We want to be able to promote this on our website. And so he came to us, and our designers said, no problem, and we went to town and we built this page that represents the instant offer component of his business. This is you'll see this iconic shot right there, the Olympia Brewery. So my mom is actually an agent in Olympia, Washington. This isn't her website, funny enough, but this is the website of an agent in Olympia, Washington. And any local who would land on that website and see that kind of iconic flyover shot of the Olympia Brewery is immediately going to feel like connected to this agent, if by nothing else other than the fact that this is a website from my area. And we call the website stuff 99% customizable. The only thing that we hold back from allowing you to customize is what I would call the lead capture levers. The components of the website that lead or that funnel people down to where they're actually registering on your website and becoming a prospect or a lead in your business. And the reason we keep control of those things is we're really good at the lead game. We've been doing this. I personally have been doing this for 20 years. Like our team, one of the gentlemen that is kind of the leader on our leads team, he's been doing demand gen lead marketing since the newspaper days. And this is a guy that's come up in ad agencies and was on the cutting edge of marketing and things like Google and Overture and some of these, these systems that we've been able to generate leads through over the years. And about a year and a half ago, Ben Kinney came to our team and he challenged us. He said, guys, we've been doing leads essentially the same way for about 15 years now. It's a little bit longer than that even, which is essentially this kind of pay-per-click model, right? Really through Google, where we go out and we say, Google, find us people that are searching for a keyword like homes for sale in Seattle. And then we generate that lead, and then we rely on kind of a combination of our CRM and whatever tools it might have, and our agents and whatever work they're able or willing to put in to convert those leads, right? Things like, drip email campaigns and listing alerts. And then our agents getting on the phone and calling them. And he said, I want to do something different. Like, I feel like we need to take that next step that a lot of other businesses have taken. And so we built what we're calling Brivity Connect. And so I want to share maybe for the next about 20 minutes exactly what Brivity Connect is with you guys. And then we'll talk about some of the tools then that Brivity offers that allows you to really, kind of have that full, the platform. And there's a reason we call it a platform, right? That full place to run your business. So because we've been doing things kind of the same way in real estate for a long time, and yet the available technology has kind of advanced, but we weren't necessarily using it. There's created these frustrations, both for consumers, right? And then for the agent, you or your agents, right? Somebody on your team who's working that lead or that prospect. So on the consumer side of things, here's what some of those issues have been, right? And they become more pronounced over the years as there's just more and more information coming at us as consumers, right? So One of the issues, because they don't remember where they visited or how you got their info, what website they were on. They don't remember. Okay. Now, if you catch them 5 minutes after they signed up, they'll remember, right? But if sometimes you'll catch them the next day, like you'll call them the next day, and they'll say things like, "Oh no, well, yeah, I was online. I'm not sure. I clicked on an ad, or I was clicking around," or they don't remember where they actually visited, right? The website they were on, which then leads them to they don't know why you are reaching out to them, right? You're this real estate agent. You're reaching out. Again, if you do it in the first 5 minutes, awesome. Probably a higher likelihood they realize why you're contacting them. But even in that case, sometimes they're immediately on the defensive because they're like, wait a minute, I'm not ready to buy or sell a house right now. Why are you calling me, right? You forced me to fill this form out, or they don't know why, right? They don't know who you are, even though they were on your website. You're calling them. They're immediately on the defensive. They're like, wait a minute, who are you? Like, I didn't even see your name on that website. I was just on some real estate website and I wanted to see, what the price was. Or so they don't care who you are. And look, and one of the reasons for that, and really the primary reason for all of these things, they can't remember where they were, although, I would suggest that maybe that even if they were really close to buying, what website they were on, most people don't know, especially if they came off of something like a Facebook. They don't know what the URL of the website they were on is, right? But they don't care about who you are. And it all really boils down to they're not ready right now. We are capturing most of these people and getting them into our database well in advance of them actually being ready, right? They are 9 months, 12 months, 18 months, 36 months, right? 3 years away from doing something. The nature of our industry, right, allows consumers to dream about buying or selling a house long before they ever do it. And so when they're dreaming about it and they engage our ad and they find their way into our database, they're just not ready to talk to us. They don't care, right? They don't know who we are. They don't have any inclination to even want to know who we are because they're not ready to buy, sell, or invest today. And this creates a whole series of problems for you, right, or your agents, especially if you have a team, and this the problems this creates can really seep into kind of your they can change the mindset of your team, right? Because we don't know what these people intent are a lot of times. We get a lead and we're not sure, right? A lot of times these days, a lead will come with one property they were interested in, but we don't know if that's the property they actually, were they looking at that property because they're trying to figure out what their property is worth and maybe they're a potential seller? Like, are they going to buy in our area or some other area? Like, we just don't know, right? Again, because oftentimes we only get one property. And then if we start to make assumptions on that property, like, there's nothing I don't know, that I find more fascinating than like agent get a lead that's a $2 million lead and they'll treat it better than a lead. It's a $300,000 lead. But the reality is you don't have any idea if that person can afford that $2 million house or if they can even afford a $300,000 house. And part of this is because we don't know enough about their needs and their wants, right? We don't know if they're pre-qualified for a mortgage. We don't know if they have a house to sell. We don't know when their lease is expired. We don't know. We end up making cold calls. They don't recognize us or our brand, Ron. They can't even remember what website they were on. They don't know who we were, Stacy, right? Even if they were a lead on our website, give it 24 hours, and that's essentially a cold call you're making to that people because they don't recognize us or our brand. They don't come back to our website, okay? They've forgotten the URL. I guarantee you could take a large percentage of people who are sitting on a website, especially if they had come off of a platform or a portal like Facebook, spin them around in their chair and be like, what website are you on right now? And they would say something like, well, I'm on a real estate website. You'd say, no, what's the URL up at the top? Like, the www.what.com. And a vast majority of them would have no idea, which means they wouldn't be able to get back to your site later, at least not easily, right? And then we don't convert enough for our old leads. In fact, most teams that I get the chance to work with, they give up. They give up on those old leads. Like they're not even trying to get business out of that lead that came into the database 2 or 3 years ago. Even though statistically, those people are probably closer to buying than the person that came in today. What if we could target them when they were ready, right? What if instead of just showing them properties on our website, we followed them around after they left your website? What about whenever they were online? Didn't matter where they were at, like we were there, right? Our branding was there and offers from you to them around real estate were there. What if everybody in the database, right? Our old leads, our past client, our sphere, what if like there was this low level humming every time they picked up their phone or they were on their computer on the internet? What if we were always there in the background, right? What if people started saying to you, what if old leads that you reached out to started saying things like, oh no, I see you guys. I see you guys everywhere. Like you're all over the place. What if the seller prospects we had in our database, right? The people that like they've been in the database for a while, right? What if they saw that we were on the Wall Street Journal? Would they start to think like, man, I gotta hire Stacy? Like this thing's freaking everywhere. Like she's on the Wall Street Journal. She's on the local Minneapolis, news site. Like she's on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. Like, so it's Brivity Connect. Here's what look, Phil, the leads, right, cost him half as much as the last place he was at. Let's see. Now, on top of that, like they were pretty good, right? This is just in his first 20 days, which means we can get like pretty fast. We can find people that are ready to buy, sell, or invest, right? That's Jacqueline's got a pretty awesome ROI. The funny thing about ROI with leads, it's really hard to judge ROI on leads unless you've been doing it at least a year. And we had not been doing it a year with Jacqueline at the time that she gave us this testimonial. But she's going to close leads this month that came in 2 years ago, right? So her ROI from the spend when she's on this program, she's only been doing it a year and 8 months or whatever, but like a year and 8 months ago when she started, there are leads that came in that month that will close this month, which means her ROI from month one continues to go up month over month over month. By the way, having a lead go under contract 4 days after they've registered is not the norm. Okay, you shouldn't expect that. That's very much an outlier. But we're not surprised. I put this testimony in here not because there was like numbers and ROIs and commission paycheck dollars, but if you run a team, this is just as big a part as anything else, right? That Ken had 3 of his buyer's agents thanking him for the increase in new leads. And the best part is they say the leads really want to talk to him. And guess what? The leads are as good as your agents believe the leads are. Right? If Ken's agents were like, none of these people want to talk to us, these leads stink. Guess what? These leads stink. And Jeff's adding some GCI to the bottom line there in Las Vegas. This is, I mentioned we've been doing leads the same way for a long time, or we had been, right? And that bottom bar with each of those little, tick marks on there represents kind of us engaging the leads that come into our database, right? So the old way is we get a lead, right? Maybe we knew what property they're looking at, maybe we didn't, but we'd get them on a listing alert, so we'd start sending them out similar properties if we knew what property they were looking at. We'd have a drip, email campaign, maybe, right? And then we'd call once or twice, maybe if we were really good, the best of the best, we'd call 3 or 4 times, right? But if you think about this customer's journey, if this customer's journey was like they found us today, but they weren't going to buy or sell for 12 months or 24 months, think about how many touches do you get on that lead over 24 months? And for most teams, it's minimal at best. I've been inside of more databases than just about anybody in the industry, I promise you. And for most teams and most agents, it's minimal at best. It's why we hear things like, yeah, you know, these leads stink, or I get 1% conversion rates, like, which is not uncommon in this industry. Well, here's what it can look like on the top, right? We can get listing alerts and market reports set up on our buyer prospects. We can get automation through emails and texts using what we call auto plans at Brivity. And we can even give you the ones we use, and we do, right? We've got a dialer built into the system so we can get more phone calls into our leads in a more efficient manner. And then we've got this next layer, and that bottom layer is really what Brivity Connect's all about. It's the dynamic property retargeting and the display ad retargeting. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Now, lead quality matters. And it used to be we'd get a name and an email, maybe a phone, and, you know, maybe a property, right? We go to Zillow, we got a lead from Zillow. Like, we generally know what property they were looking at. Most of your websites, you know, most of the systems give you the chance to see what property they were on if they, you know, made an inquiry. But we want to get you things like, what's their time frame? Like, are they approved for a mortgage? You know, these intent-based questions. Yeah, I have a home to sell, right? We want to get you potentially multiple properties they've viewed, not just one, right? 2, 3, 4, 8. We want you to see them having come back to the website, like, before you even get there and make that first call, right? Return visits. So lead quality, I believe it absolutely matters. And it matters because it allows you to be more informed as you reach out, right? So you can ask a better question, so you can lead them down a better path, so you can figure out what the next step is that leads to a better follow-up. Like, these things matter, especially at scale. You know, especially when we're talking about hundreds of leads, or potentially over the course of a year, thousands of leads. It matters, right? The difference in 1 versus 2 versus 4 versus 8% conversion rates are dramatic for your bottom line. So Brivity Connect has, you know, more leads, right? Because we can get them very affordably, qualified and engaged, faster conversion times, maybe as much as anything, more motivated agents, smart communication, massive website traffic. And this last one, I have a particular feeling on really anything in real estate. I think about things like photography or showings, right? If you're trying to build a big business, you're not going to be able to do it if you constantly are working with buyers and having to do tons and tons of showings. But it's this idea of leveraging people that might do the job more efficiently and better than you. And look, I think there is a time and a place for teams to run their own lead generation or to do their own marketing. I absolutely believe there's a time and a place for that. I do not believe that the time and the place for a real estate agent to do their marketing is that marketing that basically feeds the business, right? That every day, keep a consistent flow of leads coming in for the business. That type of marketing should be leveraged to experts. And I really firmly believe, look, take this with a grain of salt, obviously, but if you are trying to generate your own leads on a consistent basis to feed the business, you are essentially functioning like a FSBO functions. And that's a dirty word in real estate, right? For somebody to call a real estate agent, hey, you're kind of acting like a FSBO. Think about what a FSBO does. Okay, a FSBO says, look, I know that Jameson Albrecht sells houses in Salt Lake City. And I know that he's a professional and it's what he does all day long, every single day. But guess what? I think I can get more money for my house than Jameson, right? I've never sold houses before. I don't do it every day. But I don't want to pay this guy to do it, so I'm going to do it. That's what a FSBO does. That's what a FSBO says. That's how a FSBO acts, right? They do something that's not their expertise because they believe they can do it, like, and at the end of the day, come out ahead. But the reality is FSBOs, what do we know about FSBOs? They sell for less money and they get sued more often, like dramatically more often. Why? Because they don't do it every day, right? The idea that a real estate, a team owner should be out there generating their own leads. I want you to think, for who does a FSBO compete against? A FSBO is marketing their home for sale, competing against other homes being marketed for sale by professionals who do it every day, all day. Which means you, somebody trying to generate your own leads, right? What are you doing? You're basically competing against professionals. I want you to think about this. You got to compete against our team because we're out there trying to generate leads in that same market, I guarantee you, right? Who else is? Zillow's got a team doing this. Realtor.com's got a team doing it. Redfin's got a team doing it. EXP's got a team. Like, they've all got a team. Boomtown's got a team. Commissions Inc.'s got a team. KV Core's got a team. Brivity's got a team, on and on and on and on. And you are trying to compete against those, like, trained assassins, you guys. Our Brivity leads team, I don't want to compete against them. Don't be a FSBO, okay? Now, the leads themselves. We use the Facebook ad ecosystem. And here's one of the cool things about Facebook. They find us people that can do the things that we are marketing, right? Like if we're marketing so this example that we have on the page here, here's how I like to explain this. We use our marketing expertise and we combine it with your local area knowledge to drill in and find ads we can create on your behalf that get you the desired type of buyer that you're after. Now, just as a word of advice, the desired type of buyer you should be after is a move-up buyer. Now, look, maybe you love working with first-time home buyers, and that's cool. We can target them as well. But we love targeting move-up buyers in our own business, in Ben's business. And here's why. They have houses to sell, you guys. So this is an example of not this last summer, the summer before, and then this last summer as well. We ran these ads for Jeff Eller, and he's in Las Vegas. And so what was happening 2 summers ago, and even last summer, is you had this kind of exodus of people away from the city cores in a lot of cities, but in Vegas, right? Moving out of places like condo developments, high rises, or these like subdivisions that have community style amenities, community pools, primarily in Vegas. Okay. And they're moving out to places like Henderson, which is a suburb of Vegas, looking for homes with private pools, right? Why? Because their pools have been shut down because of the on the ground, like, local knowledge, right? Jeff knows this because he lives there, right? We wouldn't have necessarily known that there was this exodus happening. So what did we do? We started targeting people in Vegas with ads for homes in Henderson and a price point that would have been a move up price point. Now think about, how does Facebook get paid? Close your eyes for a second. How does Facebook get paid? How do they make money? Why is their stock trading at $400 a share or whatever it trades at? They make money when they match the ad with the person most likely to take action on the ad, and they actually get paid when the person takes action on the ad. So we pay Facebook when somebody clicks that learn more button, which means it behooves Facebook to put this ad in front of somebody that they believe, and they know a lot about us, you guys, that they believe might be interested in a, in this case, a home with a private pool priced between $500,000 and $1 million in Henderson. Now, we'll work with you to figure out in your area, and our people are really good at this. We do this every day, all day long. So we have lots of kind of examples. We've probably even helped somebody in a market similar to yours, or potentially even in your market, build out these ad campaigns. Okay, so we're very good at that side of it. Now, and what is this? Because the lead comes in, we use Facebook forms, right? So all they got to do is basically say, I want info, and Facebook fills all the info out, right? Their name and email and phone number. And then they just go, yep, that's me. And then this next little page that you would see if you were, doing this through Facebook is what they call an interstitial page. And there's a reason this is important. This is kind of this next level. Look, you could run your own Facebook ads. What you could not do is when somebody interacted with your Facebook ad, when you went to drop them somewhere else. For example, you were running an ad around your listing. They were like, I like that listing. Like, I want more information. You send them where to get it? Your website. Can you log them in on the fly? And the answer is no. Like, unless you got some pretty serious programming developer chops, right? You could run your own Facebook ads, but you would land them on your website and they would not be logged in. They would just be any old random visitor on your website. And what we've figured out how to do working with Facebook is basically when they fill out the thing and say, this is me, we then create a login and we send it right back to Facebook super fast so that when they then land on your website, they're logged in already. And that is like a really big deal. Balloons should come down from the ceiling or something. And streamers should be like landing on my shoulders right now. Guys, the elimination of friction at that point allows for what? It allows for that consumer, in this case, Curtis Gould, right? It allows for that consumer to then do other things on the website that we can track. Go look at other properties, favorite a property, set up saved searches without having to re-register on our website, given that they just gave us their information on Facebook a minute or 5 before. That's a really, really big deal. It's a really big deal. Then beyond that, and here's, so we run these carousel ads targeted to a specific audience, right? We do something else then. And we're not just doing this with your campaign. We're doing this with, hundreds and hundreds of campaigns that we're running on behalf of lots of Brivity clients. What you think about this? So let's say Facebook will run a campaign for you and they gave us 1,000 leads from your campaign, Ron. Right? We said, hey, what we do is we create what we call lookalike audiences based on high intent activities. Huh? What does that mean? Well, say we had 1,000 leads, Ron, that came to your website. Okay. We take, let's say 100 of them had done what we've determined is a high intent activity. Now, what would that be? That might be favoriting a property. It might be setting up their own home search so that they can be notified whenever a certain type of property comes up for sale. It could be looking at the same property multiple times over the course of a few different days, right? There's all these things that we've determined show high intention. So we take those people, right? Let's say 1,000 leads, 100 of them showed high intention, and we feed them in a loop back to Facebook. And we say, Facebook, thank you for sending us 1,000 leads. High five, we appreciate it. But we want you to find us more people like these 100. And so Facebook goes, okay, we know a whole bunch about those 100. Let us go crunch our algorithm. Let us get a little bit smarter with our machines, and let us find you more people like those 100, more people that have the same attributes as those 100. And we're not just doing this for you. We're doing this for the hundreds of campaigns that we have running for people. It's approaching thousands. It probably is thousands at this point. Great. That continual loop. I mean, we're really training Facebook to get better at who to target. Now, what we can do this not just on your existing leads. I'm sorry, not just on your new leads. We can do this with existing leads, right? We can start to target. And here's what I mean by target. Does anybody remember the first time that you realized that the ads that you saw on the internet were like not just random? Like, I have a very crystal clear memory of this happening. We ran a real estate company I mean, I can remember what our office looked like. I don't remember the exact year. I want to say this is 2002. And we had a real estate, might have been 2003. We had a real estate company, Brio Realty, here in Western Washington. And we're in our office one day, and my partner, Jonathan, screams down the hall. So we had kind of the opposite ends of our office building, and he screams down the hall, "Bob, get in here! Come here! So I'm like, he's not a very excitable guy, so I'm like kind of rushed down there. I'm like, what's going on, man? And he says, look at this. Look at this orange couch. And so I kind of come behind his computer, and there's an ad on whatever website he's on for this orange couch. And he goes, I was looking at this last night on this website. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, don't you think it's weird that I was looking at this couch last night and now I'm being served an ad for it? And look, guys, today, this is not like, we know this, right? Like some of us are convinced, and we say things into our phone, like our phone starts now serving us ads up. Like today, this is obvious, but in 2003, this was like, what? Now, they've been doing this to us in retail for a really long time, right? You go to Nordstrom website, and all of a sudden that pair of shoes you were looking at, they start following you around with that pair of shoes, and then they start showing you other pairs of shoes. We can do this now for your real estate listings and for your real estate database, right? We can follow people around with properties similar to the properties that they either signed up on your website. So if they were that new lead on Facebook and we were running ads for them for properties in Henderson between 500 and a million, and they looked at one, when they leave your website, guess what we do? We start following them around with properties in Henderson between 500 and a million. Other properties, the same ones they've looked at multiple times. We just keep trying to pull them back, show them your brand, right? Pull them back. Because we don't know if this person's ready to go like today, right? Like the one Jacqueline got that was under contract in 4 days, or if they're not going to buy for 2 or 3 years. Traditionally, we have not been able to capture that business from somebody that was even 6 months out, let alone a year or two. It's a really big deal, right? Your ability to be omnipresent. Now, that's the Facebook side of it. And by the way, if you're seeing an ad, like if you guys just open your phone right now, you can go to any app, any website, like any ad you see on your phone or your computer, there's a 98% probability it's coming or being served to you either by Facebook or Google. Okay? The vast majority of the ads we see online are coming from one of those two monsters. So in the Facebook world, right? And again, it's not just Facebook and Instagram. It's some of the apps that you play, and it's some of the websites you see are being powered by Facebook's ad platform. And the rest of them are being powered by Google's. And so we also will go through this. By the way, that other 2% is probably a little bit higher than that, is like some of these app networks. There's some advertising app networks out there, which we also leverage. But when we're not retargeting them with properties similar to the properties they've been looking at, then what we're doing is we're assaulting them with your brand. We call it targeted brand saturation, where everywhere they go, they see you and the message that you want to beat into their head. Okay? Like I tell the joke, we don't care if they lean left and go to MSNBC or they lean right and go to Fox News, you'll be there. In fact, Grant Gould, who runs our leads department, I love this story, kind of makes me chuckle a little bit. He's also a real estate agent. He has a team up here kind of under Ben's umbrella here in Bellingham, Washington. And he recently had a lady who came in as a lead. He'd reached out to her a number of times, never really got her on the phone. And then one day he finally gets her on the phone. And he says, "Hi, man. This is Grant Gould, and I've been following up." And she said, "Oh, no, Grant. I've gotten your messages, and I've been meaning to get back to you. And I see your ads all the time on Fox News. And if you're advertising on Fox News, you're definitely the kind of guy that I want to work with. And he's just chuckling to himself because it's sure he's on Fox News. Why? Because she's on Fox News, and we follow her around wherever the heck she goes, and we put his ads up on those sites. And there is an incredible amount of power on that lady she trusts the brand that she trusts, in that case, Fox News, right? So what she's doing is she's transferring that trust from the brand she trusts onto the person advertising on that brand that she trusts. Our teams, almost all of our teams are engaged with this Brivity Connect product at this point, all of Ben's Place operators. And it's very common for them that story is echoed often. It's very common for our people to hear things like, oh, no, I recognize you guys. They don't know, and sometimes they don't even know why or where. It's just this low drum beat in the background of their internet experience where we are always there. Buyer campaigns, seller campaigns, and our team will actually help you create the collateral for these and can help inform you on what some good messages that we're seeing out there are. Now, from that point, listing alerts and market reports, I'm a firm believer, by the way, that if we had the power of what our market reports do, 12 years ago, we would not have a Zillow today, right? Market reports inform people on what their neighbors' houses are selling for, helping them figure out what theirs is worth, right? Or in a buyer scenario, it helps inform them on what's pending and what's selling in that area they want to buy into. But if consumers had access to this type of data from their real estate agents 12 years ago, Zillow would not have stood up on our industry, because 12 years ago, our MLSs didn't allow us to show what was pending and what was sold, and now they do. Auto plans, we'll give you all the plans we run. Now, you could go into our community, the Brivity community, and ask people for their versions of plans, but we give you I don't know why you would, reinvent the wheel. Like, we got a pretty awesome wheel. We call it the 10 days of pain, and it's really, really effective at getting consumers to engage with us, right? And it's automatic. You could be at dinner tonight with your honey bunny, Stacy, and guess what? Your leads will get covered. We make sure we kind of bring all the high value, high target things to the surface for you. It's warmer calls, easier conversations. Now, that's the leads aspect. Well, what are some of the other kind of tools inside of Brivity then? Well, we can take your leads from anywhere, guys. Doesn't matter where your leads are coming from. We can funnel them all into one place, so you can put the same systems and models around working your leads no matter where they came from, right? Come from Zillow? Awesome. We'll get them in there. Realtor.com? Yep. Your old website? Cool. We can get them there too. Doesn't matter where. Here, these virtual tools, the virtual showing forms, the virtual share, the virtual open house concept, they're features. There's a million features I don't talk about around Brivity. Here's why I think these ones are important. And it goes back to that very first slide where we talked about, our founder, Ben Kinney, running a real estate business today with boots on the ground. When COVID hit, and I get that we're getting close to 2 years from that having happened, it was a dramatic impact on our business because we run a real heavy open house prospecting business. All of our teams around the country are firm believers in the power of hosting open houses as a mechanism for finding ready buyers, basically, and in some cases, ready sellers. But we couldn't do those anymore. And so immediately, like, we had this massive disruption. So what did Ben do? He took our entire dev team and he gave them like 4 days to basically build out all of these virtual concepts. Right now, including like safety pages on agent websites, so they could easily go in and kind of show consumers what they're doing to keep people safe, like for showings they were. Now, why is that a big deal? Why? Because we have boots on the ground. If something changes, like, we got to change with it, right? Now, We've got the traditional open house registration pages where you can make sure every open house you do, all those prospects get automatically fed into the CRM, get automatically set up with listing alerts, potentially get automatically spoken to with our auto plans. Awesome seller lead capture opportunities, text-based. So we have this, it's called Quickly, which is our strategy for mobile related to our signs, right? Our listing signs. We don't use flyers, right? If somebody wants to find out how much one of those, we'll have them text in, automatically connects into the MLS. These are the best leads. I mentioned my mom's an agent in Olympia, Washington. She loves her Quickly leads, you guys. Loves it, right? It'd be like if she could stand out next to her flyer, and every time somebody grabbed a flyer, she'd just be like, boom, what's your cell phone number? Sorry, I can't let you go until you give it to me. That's essentially what Quickly is. It's fantastic. Auto plans, we talked about lead auto plans and being able to automate our follow-up, right? We're saving so much time and making sure that every lead is talked to, every single lead gets followed up with, every single lead gets asked the questions that we know are effective questions to draw somebody into a conversation. You can share these auto plans amongst yourselves or with us. Or I guess we can share them with you. We share all the ones that Ben's team uses. Listing alerts. Look, we've had these around for years, but we've got a really aggressive strategy of how we help you kind of dial in who should be getting listing alerts. And surprise, surprise, it's just about everybody. But there's a kind of a method to that madness. Market reports, these are absolutely the highest open thing we've ever sent in my 20 years of prospecting to real estate consumers, like by far. It used to be by up to 3x. Now it's like these things get opened at about 2.5 times what any other email we've ever sent in real estate gets opened at. Consumers love to know what's happening around them. Zillow is proof of that. Yeah, we've got Brivity on the go because you guys don't sit in front of a computer all day. Hopefully you do sit in front of your computer for some dedicated prospecting time each day to build your business. But most of the time you're on the go and you got to be able to take Brivity on the go with you. Like one of the ways you can become a better lead converter is you can call more. And we've done a lot of kind of studying on, it's really cool to have these, Ben's got his place organization. There are 78 or 79 teams now. It's really fascinating to be able to look at the productivity of some really high performing teams inside of some really large databases and be able to extrapolate out some really key indicators of success. And one of the highest correlations between the teams that basically extract the most amount of potential business out of their database, the one thing, like if we could drill all of real estate down, distill it all the way down to one thing that could allow you to be successful in real estate, it's literally how many phone calls you place into your database. So we had to build a dialer so you could do that more efficiently. We have one lady that places about 1,000 phone calls. It's actually about 1,200 phone calls a month into her database. Her name's Katie Sentinella. She's going to do about 65 deals this year. Katie's, the dialer, I want you to think about how much time her dialer saves her. Okay. She saves, we did a bunch of kind of studying of our agents on Ben's teams. They save about 20 seconds a call using a dialer versus hand dialing the next call. About 20 seconds. It's fascinating. By the way, the longer they're in these dialer sessions, the more time it takes them to transition. They start in their dialer sessions transitioning at like 10 seconds a call, and by the end, they're transitioning at 30 seconds a call. But on average, about 20 seconds a call. She makes 1,200 calls a month. That means every 3 calls, she saves a minute using the dialer, which means she saved 400 minutes this month because she made 1,200 calls. 400 minutes just that she wasn't dialing her phone. What? 400 minutes? There's 60 minutes in an hour. 400 minutes would be, what, 6 hours and 40 minutes? This month, she saved a whole day So 6 hours times 12, 72 hours she's going to save this year. Not dialing the phone. Like what? No wonder she's going to do 65 deals. She's finding a way to save time everywhere. She's really efficient with what she does. Now, your dashboard, we talked about that. Your message center, I love the message center inside of Brivity. If you run a team, single-handedly, the easiest place you can help your team get better at what we call the first real estate success principle, which is saying the right thing. Man, you should be in your message center all day long if you run a team. It's the best place to help your people get better at what to say to folks. CMAs, you've got to be, you know, at some point, somebody's going to raise their hand and go, hey, we're ready to sell our house. Stacy, you think you could come out? No, Slavic, you don't need a new sign on the Quickly stuff for each listing. We do it on the GPS location of their phone. So you get the same sign. You can use it listing after listing after listing. You get one keyword. For example, here in Bellingham, Ben's keyword is Ben Kinney. So if you want info on a property, you text Ben Kinney to 59559, and then we dial in on the GPS location of your phone, and you can either reply with an address of a property, or you can click a link to show you the properties nearest to where you're physically sitting. So you can continue to use the same sign over and over and over, Slavic, for your Quickly stuff. Smart question. The transaction auto plans, I get, like, Brivity was originally built to manage transactions, and it's industry leading. Like I said, we've got the two gals up here in Bellingham, one of which will manage about 400 pending or 400 active listings this year, and the other one that will manage moving about 800 transactions from pending to sold, just here in our Washington State kind of couple of operations. Just transaction auto plans, we can do a whole hour on the power of these things. But basically, you've got a portal where your clients can understand everything you guys do on the back end of a transaction. And it's so important that your clients have that transparency to be able to see what it is you're doing for the fees that they ultimately pay. And you know, go look at the reviews sometime for the Ben Kinney teams. Bellingham would be a great example. Like, our customers are constantly saying things like, you know, they kept me updated every step of the way, and I never had any questions about what they were doing to get my house sold, and you know, their communication was impeccable, and which is pretty staggering considering, you know, right now just in the Bellingham operation, and we've got 4 different operations here in the state of Washington, but just in the Bellingham one, I think they've got like 48 pendings. And all of our consumers think that we're amazing at communicating with them. How? Brivity, basically. We do these AI targeted direct mail marketing. If you do any kind of direct mail marketing, we've got a stellar program called Brivity Marketer that can do this for you. We've got a thing called Brivity Designer for all your design needs, right? If you need leverage, really affordable, not cheap, it's affordable leverage. We've got a company called Brivity VA where the VAs come trained in an understanding of the full Brivity software package. We've got coaching here at Brivity, training and help. And I think our training, our success team, our support response is absolutely industry leading. And it's one of the things that our longtime customers appreciate about us the most is they have access to people like Ben Kinney puts his cell phone out. You guys can text him at any hour. And, you know, oftentimes he forwards you to somebody like me or David Wiggs or one of our amazing team, but we're available. Now, Brivity has been priced for, you know, you have a smaller team and you don't need, you know, as many seats or as much kind of bandwidth. It's much more affordable. And as your team grows, or you've got a larger number of users, the cost scales up. Listen, if you guys would like to get a proper demo, and I gave you a pretty good high level, like this is what Brivity entails, but if you wanted to dig into the weeds, you wanted to ask some very particular questions, pull your phone out right now and text platform to the number 59559. So who's texting? 59559. And then the body of the text, just text the word platform. And somebody on our team will reach out. Well, actually, what it does is sends you a link back automatically where you can just schedule on one of our calendars a demo to kind of dig in with somebody on our team. It's highly likely that if you're still here with me at this point, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Actually, I'll leave my screen being shared. I wanted to see some names here. Look, if you're still here, Jameson, you've been here the whole time. If you're still here, Ron or Slavic or Melissa or Kimberly or Marty or Jessica or a bunch of other names that I didn't just run through right there. This probably isn't the first time you've heard about Brivity. This probably isn't the first time you've even started to investigate us. But I think you owe it to yourself to do a demo, to ask those specific questions, because the only way, look, I'm going to make an assumption about most of the people on this call right now. My assumption is you want to have a bigger business and you want to make more money next year than you did this year. You want to grow your business. You have two ways you can do that next year, okay? You can work more. You can do the same thing you're doing now and just work more. Melissa Prendergast, okay? Or you can get more efficient at the way you're doing things. Brivity is all about scaling up, okay? It's a very bold claim. The only system that guarantees success in real estate is a very bold claim, but we have been able to prove this model out now in our own environment in 79 different markets across the country. And we've got, thousands of Brivity clients out there doing this in their own way. But if you need a way, we show you every angle and every insight to Ben Kinney's business. And on the back of the Brivity platform, we believe that anybody can have success. Now, this is going to take some work, right? Real estate's not easy. I chuckle when people say they get into real estate for the flexibility, because what they really mean is flexible income. And none of you guys are looking for flexible income. You're looking for a system that allows you to be consistent, to create a consistent outcome. And that's what Brivity is. All right. Again, if you guys have any, look, you're still here, please just go text platform to 59559. Get signed up for a proper demo. Or maybe you're like, I just want to sign up. Like, how would I do that? You text platform to 59559 and hop on the calendar, and one of our awesome guys or gals will show up on that time and that day, and they'll help get you signed up. All right, high five. It's Wednesday. Have an awesome rest of your week. My name is Bob Stewart. Bye-bye.